Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2658, 2658. Hello, it's Mike Matthews. I spent the day as I was driving.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Listening to OPP. Yes, that famous song from the 90s. No, actually, it was other people's podcasts. That's what I was listening to. It was great. I was dancing around my car, which is illegal in most parts of the state of California. And I wanted to say that thank you for listening to the last show called Mike's Daily
Podcast.
It was actually called Pudgy. And that was because of the comments I was making about people
Mike's
that just play
Daily
video games all day.
Podcast.
They might get a little bit pudgy.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. So I thought I would do a podcast today because it is Mike's Daily Podcast. And you might find, if you're listening to this on the 16th of August, it is National Rum Day. We were discussing that in the last podcast. And that, what? Yes, I guess we also mentioned the roller coaster day. And it is, you know what's, maybe you're not even listening to this on the 16th, or maybe you're listening to this on the 17th. It is National Hazy IPA Day. Of all the beers, I really enjoy a hazy IPA. When I don't want to destroy myself and not want to eat for the next 3 days and drink a stout or something of that thickness, a hazy IPA is just joyfully craft beery enough for me. It's such a craft beer dance of joy and happiness. Hazy IPA. That's right. So it's also Black Cat Appreciation Day. I had a black cat. The late, great Rodler. We don't know whatever happened to Rodler. There's some podcast pictures of him, too, at mikesdailypodcast.com if you want to see him.
And here's today's podcast picture.
He disappeared one day about a year and a half ago. It was so sad. So that's why we don't let Rocky outside. We don't want that to happen to him. But the podcast picture today, and we didn't want it to happen to Rodler either, but it did. And it was just, he was an outdoor cat to begin with. So to keep him inside was torture for him. Yeah. So let's hear it for black cats. They're really wonderful. They get a bad rap, that cat. They don't have magical powers and give you bad luck or anything. They're wonderful. They're good luck, from what I found. The late, great Basil the Boxer, he would disagree with me. He would say all cats are bad. I think that's what he's saying right here. Okay, I understand your sentiments. But the podcast picture is another great one from the nice day trip I took to San Francisco. And as promised, I will have a picture of the Hyatt and its interesting, bizarre, Escher-like insides. Now that hotel was built years and years ago, so it really stands the test of time how bizarre it looks. And I haven't been in there in many years, so it was nice to finally go back in post-COVID and check it out, and it looks pretty much the same. So see that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. What else, Mike? What else do you have for me? I'm demanding. Give me something, Mike, because I'm so demanding.
The Fascinating Material Project.
People are getting sick of group messages.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
But if you text multiple people, that's not fine. Why? Because all those people now have the option to text back. And so now you're getting texted by not one person, but 2, 3, 4, maybe more. It's so much easier to stay connected with kids and families these days, but a new survey that gives you scurvy, a survey finds that we might be overusing some of that technology. There's a company called Secure Data Recovery. They surveyed Americans to find out how they felt about group messages. 100% of Gen Zers say they participated in a group chat, and 67% say those chats included family members, but those family group chats are almost the most frustrating. 1 out of 3 report. The majority say it's so difficult to keep up with group chats, it's like having a part-time job. And I guess this also includes those actual apps that allow you to do group chats.
Ginormous.
Mike's out of left field recordings.
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
What else do you have for me, Mike? I'm demanding. I'm so demanding. I want more. Well, movie theaters are getting a boost from the extreme heat.
Magnification.
And usually they're air conditioned.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
In 1925, the Rivoli Theater in Times Square installed the very first air conditioning unit. So Barbie's over $1 billion. The Barbie billions have been made.
Magnification.
It is just one of 50 movies ever to reach $1 billion in global box office sales. Barbie held its spot as the #1 movie in North America for it's probably, how many weeks now? It's over 3. In markets like Los Angeles, Phoenix, Tucson, Arizona, daily temperatures going past 100 degrees, audiences flocking to the movie theaters. Barbenheimer, that means 5 to 6 hours in air conditioning if you do the Barbenheimer double feature or the Oppen Barbie. And U.S. ticket sales have raked in over $5.8 billion so far this year, $1 billion more than last year. So yes, we're on a roll with the movies. Once theaters began installing cooling systems in the 20s, they opened their doors so that cool breezes would hit people walking by, subliminally tempting them to buy tickets. That's kind of what they do in Vegas, isn't it? You walk by, it's scorching hot. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. And yes,
Anyway,
Café Anyway is air conditioned. Since the initials for Café Anyway is CA, it's fitting that we have AC in CA. But now we're outside and it's hot. No air conditioning outside. Even though in the cold, in the winter, you've got heaters outside. Oh, that's what fans are for, Mike. And misters. Nah, they don't really do the same thing. So, McDonald's is rolling out new McFlurries for a limited time. It's out, I guess, now. The Peanut Butter Crunch McFlurry.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
And Zoom isn't good enough for Zoom. They have now ended their remote work. You may have heard of this. Zoom has told employees within a 50-mile radius of one of its offices that they must come in at least 2 days a week. So if you're counting, that remote work lasted for 3 years altogether. There are some companies that are saying if you want to remote work and you want to make what you're making, but you're moving to a state that has less expenses, well, we got to change how much you're making. They're actually starting to do that.
Whoa. Mike's Matthewsman Park.
The front panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
This was sent to me from my mom's friend, my late mom. She had a friend named Winky, and Winky used to send her emails with funny things in them. And now she sends them to me. I reached out to Winky to let her know the sad news of my mom's passing, and she now sends me the funny emails. So I'm honored she does. And occasionally I have to read these to you. So Murphy's other 15 laws are, we'll go in ascending order. Number 15, when you go into court, you are putting yourself in the hands of 12 people who weren't smart enough to get out of jury duty. Oh, and you must watch, that's something that reminds me that something I watched last week. My lovely lady friend and I, by the way, are scraping the bottom of the barrel trying to find stuff to watch. And we got Amazon Prime and Netflix. And we finished Lincoln Lawyer. That was great. Another sort of jury duty legal type themed show. But what about the show Jury Duty that features James Marsden? Now, he's the guy that played Cyclops in the X-Men. I have run into him twice in my life. And both times didn't even know it. I had to have people tell me, hey, Mike, you were standing right next to James Marsden. I had no idea. The guy is so just normal looking.
A fine article.
You silly, great, fat article. Machi.
One time I was at the airport and my then wife, she goes, hey, do you know who you were standing next to at that Starbucks? No. James Marsden. Oh, who's that? It's the guy from X-Files, X-Men or whatever. Then another time I was at the Dixie Chicks when they were popular pre-big controversy with the George W. Bush thing. And we were there. Apparently he was in one of the rows near us and I didn't know. Somebody pointed it out to me. That was with me. And he pointed it out again to me on Facebook like 10 years later. God gave you toes as a device for finding furniture in the dark. What Winky has sent to me to let me know, to remind me. Flashlight, a case for holding dead batteries. Huh? Give a man a fish and he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish and he will sit in a boat all day drinking beer. The things that come to those who wait may be the things left by those who got there first. If the shoe fits, get another one just like it. Number 9, that's true. You want nice fitting shoes. Be good to your feet. You'll miss them when they're gone. It is said that if you line up all the cars in the world end to end, someone from California would be stupid enough to try to pass them. That's true. You hear that cars are so expensive now. The average cost for a new car is $48,000. That means that, people can't afford that. So they're going to buy the used cars. Well, that means the used car prices have shot up because of the demand. Ugh. Number 8, the 50-50-90 rule. Anytime you have a 50-50 chance of getting something right, there's a 90% probability you'll get it wrong. Number 7, nothing is foolproof to a sufficiently talented fool. Number 6, those who live by the sword get shot by those who don't. Number 5, change is inevitable except from a vending machine. Number 4, a day without sunshine is like, night. Kombucha. Number 3, he who laughs last thinks slowest. Number 2, a fine is a tax for doing wrong. A tax is a fine for doing well. And the number 1, Murphy's Law, out of those 15 Murphy's Laws, number 1, light travels faster than sound. This is why people appear bright until you hear them speak.
Woo!
Thank you, Winky. All right. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, look who's here.
Hello, Michael Match. It's Madam Rootabega.
Are you okay? You just melted. Here, let me sprinkle a little magic Frosty the Snowman dust on top of you. And, you're back.
Thank you, Michael Master. It was very difficult for me to get back together when I'm melting with the hot heat. Ooh.
Yeah, it's really hot. Do you like the heat?
Yes.
Oh, you do? That's interesting. Even though it melts you still like it?
Yes.
Do you like these questions?
No.
I know, because it gets you confused. Okay, look who else is here.
Hello, Dave Mike. This is Valentino, the parking attendant.
And this is Bison Bentley. Do you know that?
Mike, so we was wondering, Dave, when you're going to get the nice ice cubes and put them and tape them to our heads so we cool down, Dave.
Yeah, how are we going to cool down without the ice cubes taped to our heads? Do you know that?
Excellent. Let me get some tape right now. Tape ice cubes to your heads. Tape. Wonderful tape. Hey, that's a great name for today's show. And you know what? The next show, we're going to have the wonderful Chely Shoehart, Floyd the Floorman, and John Deere the engineer. If you would like to chime in about anything we covered today, you can give me a call, 510-228-4640. And with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye!